Here we are sitting on our finished demo net, holding some scissors and a box knife. What could go wrong? In this section, we are going to cut this net, eventually working our way up from paracord to the actual perimeter rope. And I know it's kind of sad to waste the paracord and the perimeter and all this stuff, but I want to show you guys what happens if you cut a certain line or cut the perimeter or anything like that, because I know a lot of people are worried about net safety and all that stuff. So I thought it might be educational to cut this down. Plus, I didn't say this at the start, but actually the red perimeter rope right here and the white rope we use for the rings is recycled rope. So it's actually been given a second life right here. And then when it comes to the paracord, these are actually leftover colors from a previous project I had. So it was just sitting in the closet. So nothing gone to waste. Our first victim for this is going to be this very lightly woven section, kind of medium density, not too dense. And I'll just go right into it with the pair of scissors right here. You can see we got our constrictor right there. So if we cut it, what happens? Am I going to fall to the ground? No, obviously not. It breaks until it gets to the constrictor right here, and then the cow hitch right here. And actually these wraps also kind of insulate it. But anyways, we cut that. What about right here? Yep, nothing crazy. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be that crazy, but trying to make it all suspenseful for you guys. How about right here? As you can see, this doesn't even have that much tension on it. So yeah, nothing crazy. It's pretty low key. But what if we cut our subskeleton right here? Would anything happen there? For that, I'm gonna switch from my dull scissors to the box cutter. All right, not that crazy. Something I want to highlight here is look how much these wraps are actually holding in the tension. This subskeleton leads directly to this part we just cut, and look at this. It is so tight. I mean, you might think that this is like a hitch or something, but really it's just wraps passing through the fill right here. It's pretty crazy. Now, as we kind of start to undo this, let's see if we can free this up. Aha, there you go. So it's kind of being held in right there. And as we do this, it starts to slowly undo until it gets to some wraps over here that you can't see off camera. Okay, so we've seen what happens when we cut the paracord right here. We've seen what happens when we cut this subskeleton, this double green paracord right here. But what about this skeleton frame? This is just like the perimeter, but on the inside of the net. What happens if we cut this? Well, let's find out. Backing up. That's it. There you go. Basically, these hitches have so much friction on them because of all this tension that it doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't even slide through that first hitch. One thing to note about the net, though, as I'm cutting this, is there's a total loss of tension. It's not crazy. You can still see I'm bouncing up and down, but, you know, it's not as it used to be. Here you can see where I cut the perimeter for the social media vertical video. And you can see that it definitely slipped a little bit because I was sitting there and there was a lot of force pulling it in either direction. But obviously it stopped on these hitches right here and didn't go that much further. I mean, it's crazy how much the friction of these hitches can hold in the perimeter. And yes, obviously we lost a ton of tension because we literally popped out like that. But the net did not collapse or fall to the ground or anything like that. But you can see this hitch actually popped out right here. And you know it's a hitch because it was twirled up like this. It's where the cross weave came and bounced off the side. So at least one hitch popped, but I don't think any others did. Not even this one right here. So that's pretty crazy, especially considering I was sitting right here. And basically all my force is on this one section of the net because it's so skinny. It's pretty wild that it works like that. Here's another area I cut up for a vertical video. Look at that. Look at that. And then on the outside, is it that loose? Not really. I mean, it's pretty tense around this massive gaping hole. So, I mean, you can imagine, you know, sometimes squirrels might nibble away at the net. That's happened like maybe once or twice in my weaving journey. It's super annoying. I think they use it for their nests or something. But, you know, if the squirrels nibble away at your paracord, not a problem. You can just isolate this issue and then reweave these strips right here, just like how I showed you in the ring section before this. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously not ideal because you're going to get a lot of double fisherman's bends to have to splice these in here, but it's not the end of the world and your net's not going to fall apart if a squirrel eats it or if it happens to rub against the tree or whatever. If they cut through the perimeter, that's slightly worse, obviously. As you saw earlier, it's not totally catastrophic, but if the perimeter was cut, I would not feel safe or comfortable being on the net or telling a client that they could be on the net. In that case, I'd have to figure out some sort of engineering solution. Now, if you really wanted to cause a catastrophic failure with the rubber band perimeter, my guess is that you would have to cut up against the tree right here. And I think in that scenario, it would compromise this anchor right here so that half the net falls to the ground while the other half remains intact. Now, if you want to build in a redundancy for this, you can either double up your perimeter or just add in sidewalls, which effectively act as a double perimeter. And so there you go, that wraps up the net carnage section of our video course. And with that, our demo net is basically complete. I'm just gonna cut this down, salvage some bits of it for some reshoots, but after this, we are moving on to the time trial net where we can see just how long it takes to weave a net, how much paracord we use, and just a cool time lapse. Of course, that's gonna be in black and dark green, so it's gonna be hard for you guys to see. Apologies in advance, but I think the information we'll learn from that will be very useful.